it a message for a particular ethnic group? Is there a cultural explanation for this?
Well, I think there are certainly new migrant families that are larger. They have more kids. They have more crowded households. But there should be no vilification in this space. This is a virus that will simply transmit to others if they're close enough.
I'm not after vilification.
No, I understand.
Just an explanation for why this is happening.
Yeah, look, I think there are different households where people's interactions and the size of those households and how crowded they might be is a factor in transmission, and it's not about people's failure necessarily to do the right thing. But it is a higher risk of transmission in certain settings.
Can I add to that on the issue that you've raised? I would just make the point, we've all the way through this tried to be as frank as we possibly can, to be as direct as we possibly can, and that's why from time to time I have shared with you things that we are thinking about, things that we are planning. That goes all the way back to that day when we stood at the Royal Melbourne Hospital in that intensive care unit and talked about what we were all in store for. I'll make this point though, and be equally frank. We've had outbreaks from people who've returned from Aspen. If you want to make cultural judgments about that sort of socio-economically and how much money those sorts of people might have, fine. We've had outbreaks at very large weddings. We've had outbreaks connected to hospitality venues and various activities over the journey. We've had outbreaks at a family level. That's the nature of outbreaks. They are very concentrated, they are very localised, and we have had them everywhere. The latest challenge is in larger families in a particular geographic part of the city, and that's why we're literally going door to door to speak to them, to encourage them to get tested and to encourage them to change some of the personal habits that they've always exhibited. Big families getting together with other big families makes for very large gatherings, and if someone's unwell, then that means lots of people leave that gathering positive. They may not know it. Some of them may never get symptoms. But again, that's a pretty obvious thing. Just in terms of being equally frank around some of the behaviour that's got us into this place, I think that you can mount a pretty clear argument that when someone tests positive and then goes to work, that's one of the reasons why we find ourselves in the sort of situation we're in now, where without any regard for the safety of others, but perhaps some regard for their household circumstances, the amount of money in their savings account, the mere act of kind of economic survival, they've put that ahead of public health. Rather than blaming that person, what we've done is put that hardship payment in place so that hopefully no one has to make that choice. They can instead have the money, that hardship payment, and do the right thing by their family and every single Victorian family. This virus doesn't discriminate based on where you were born or whether you pray or not and to whom you pray. It is with all of us, and it is with all of us for a long time, and that's why we all have to work together to beat it.